Hey guys, I've been sitting here rambling for 30 minutes and I didn't even push record. I'm an idiot. Okay, I'm going to start this over again. Years ago, I used to fence, back when I was in my 20s and 30s, and really enjoyed the tar of it. And it got to the point you get married, get working, career, youngins and all that, and you ain't got time for such foolishness, especially when you're driving around the country working. And then you totally forget about it. Plain and simple, you got more important things. Then you get old, things happen, divorce or death and stuff like that. And you find yourself retired, bored. That little ember of fencing still there. Can I still do it? I don't know. All the fencing they used to do was not Olympic type fencing. It was more we called fencing the round or rapier combat. So it was more we were spitting insults and everything, getting into melees. And this is back when I lived in Florida. We'd go up to St. Augustine and do the St. Augustine raid of 1702. We would do Fish Island raid. We would do Spanish Night Watch, British Night Watch. We do stuff with the Meta Menendez, or as we call them, Meta Mayonnaise, also known as Sticks with Sticks. And all of you that are Hispanic, don't get pissy. That was just our nickname for them. After all, I'm a crowd. So, anyway, so I digress. So years later, here I am, I'm retired, and I'd like to get back in fencing. And they got this stuff now called HEMA, Historical European Martial Arts. Beautiful. I think it started around 2000, something like that. So I'm looking at HEMA, and well, what am I going to fence with? All my gear's old, gone, disappeared, rusted away, lost. Well, I started looking around, seeing that these guys are using wood blades, wood swords, for practicing. And since I really don't have anyone here to fence with in Kentucky, I could go through I guess what in Japanese martial arts they'd say katas. I go through the movements. Okay, so what do I make? Well, I used to, back when I was in Europe, over in Belarus, I had a run-in with a fella who had a shashka. So I was very impressed with it. So there's my saber, made of shashka. I have a piece of scrap wood. This thing handles pretty good. Now the handle's a little big, honestly, but it does the job for me just sitting here practicing doing my thing. Okay, well, I need to have a long sword, which I've always wanted a long sword. And back then, when we used to do it, if I pulled out a long sword, someone would have had a cord there and shot me. So, and around here we have tobacco sticks. So, voila, one tobacco stick is now a long sword. Now I'm thinking about changing the butt on that a little bit. I'm going to put a little nagel right there, and I think I'm going to make this into what the Germans call a Grossmesser. Or Grossmesser. Big sword, war sword. Okay, so I got that. Now, what about for my rapier epee kind of thing? I do mostly 18th century reenactment, so once again, the tobacco stick to the rescue. And what did I go and made? A spadroon. Why a spadroon? Because I'm just weird. All these people are talking crap about spadroons, which makes me want to like it. Besides, it fits. I use fence epee. Oh shit! I won't drop it. And it fits. That what I used to fight. Okay. All right. So now I've got my spadroon. Got my long sword. I got a saber, and I'm starting noticing, like over Todd's stuff, Todd Cutlery, Cold Steel, a bunch of other folks putting out these things called Lang messers. It looks like someone took a Bowie knife and had a fantasy fest with it. Well, I started doing a little reading, a little research, looking into it, and no, them things were real. and things were real. And I just absolutely fell in love with it because I was part of the reason for me getting back into fencing because I want a sword taking the woods with me. I want something for a multi-purpose kind of a thing. A lot of you are saying, get a Bowie knife. I got a Bowie knife. Get this and that. Well, honestly, I want to try and do a sword because I'm actually looking at getting into 15th, 16th century reenactment. And from a German point of view, my family originally were from Bavaria. The Stamballs, which are in our old German name was Stambach. And so I'm starting looking around and thinking about these Langmessers, or long knife. And, okay, well, how am I going to make a wood one of these things? You know, to practice with until I get something and hammer myself out at Langmesser, because I'm looking at the prices of the good ones, and I'm like, I can't afford that. And I'm looking at the lesser expensive ones going, and they look like they've been punched out on a conveyor belt to me. They really do. So I'm going to want to build myself one. When I do, I'll make a video of that. Meanwhile, a wood one for practice. And I start seeing these kind of, once again, fantasy-looking things in these old treatises. And for those of you that ain't familiar, treatise is basically a cartoon version of a how-to, picture by picture, and you know, gives you the different poses you can work through. And they're running around with these goofy-looking things that look like this. So, needless to say, I didn't make that. No, yeah, I did. You've seen I made it. And this was quick. I made it out of pine, and it feels good. The movement of it is, you know, it's very doable. Now I'm thinking for the woods, for a wood sword, a hunting sword, and I wonder if the Langmesser may have also actually evolved into a hunting sword. Especially with the German Americans coming to the United States. And let me throw one more thing at you. If you look at the description of Jim Bowie's knife, it wasn't like we think of Bowie knives. The description of his actual knife was more of like a big kitchen knife. And I'm wondering if after the sandbar fight and the descriptions of it, that the first Americans to make copies of them before the English took over manufacture of them, I wonder if those may have been German Americans, and they may have superimposed the design of the Langmesser onto this knife carried by Jim Bowie. Think about that, because American Bowie knife. Now you add a foot onto this thing and a nagel. A nagel is a little crossbar comes out here, helps protect your knuckles. Then at that point, I believe you have a Langmesser. So think about it, the most American knife, the most iconic American knife, the design of it came from us German Americans. That's my feeling. That's just my theory, my thought, and what I feel is probably more accurate. Anyways, y'all, take it easy. I'm probably, if any of y'all are interested in this, if I have the wood, I'm going to start making some of these up for guys to practice. I imagine not just for practicing to fight with Langmesser, but probably with falchions, it'd probably be a good thing. Anyway, so if y'all are interested in one of these, let me know, and I'll come up with a price. Not going to be much because these things are wood and made out of pine or whatever wood I can get on hand. And I imagine if you get into a one-on-one kind of a fence with them, just kind of going slow, these things will probably break. So I'm thinking these things are probably disposable to some point, but it's until you get your real one, and you don't want to practice fight and go through all that with a real one, because that's called, I don't know, murder. But y'all let me know. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'm actually kind of thinking about maybe changing my channel on YouTube and doing up a new one. kind of based around the Messer and around German American heritage and equipment and stuff like that. Because of all the rest of the groups, we've probably pretty much been forgotten long enough, and we were sped on all the rest of that stuff in the 20th century too much, and our culture in the United States has been decimated and almost not completely non-existent. So I think I'm going to do a channel study on that. So we'll see. Anyways, y'all take care. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.